I booked the MV Celestine Dawn because I wanted a week where my biggest decision was espresso or wine. 7 nights, round trip from Athens with stops in Santorini, Valletta, Tunis, and Palermo. A floating postcard with air conditioning. I was traveling alone, 36, recently laid off in the most polite corporate way possible. Restructuring. Translation. Good luck out there. I told myself the cruise was a reset. Sun, salt air, a schedule that wasn't my problem. Embarkation day was a cheerful conveyor belt. Wristbands, photos, staff saying, "Welcome aboard," like they'd been trained to smile through hurricanes. Families rolled suitcases that could survive war. My cabin was on deck 9, midship, cabin 9214. Across the hall was 92.2, a family of 4 with matching straw hats and the kind of energy that said they'd already argued about dinner. We met in the hallway when none of our key cards worked on the first try. "Are you 9214? The dad asked. Sunburned already, like he'd been preheating for vacation. "Yeah," I said, "if the door agrees." His wife laughed. "It's the door, not you. I'm Marissa. This is Evan." Their kids hovered behind them. A boy, maybe 10, and a teenage girl with earbuds and a look that could slice bread. "I'm Nate," I said, "solo traveler. Don't worry, I'm not starting a hallway book club." Evan grinned. "We'd join, honestly." The first 2 days were exactly what I paid for: buffet breakfasts, shore photos in Santorini, a trivia game where I learned I'm bad at naming 1980s movies. People were living their best lives with 0 volume control. On the 3rd night, I spotted a man in a navy jacket that looked almost like crew uniform, but not quite. No name tag, no bright smile. Mid-40s, average build. He sat at the edge of a lounge, angled toward the corridor, watching people pass like he was waiting for a specific face. I looked away because that's what you do. 10 minutes later, when I stood to leave, he stood too. He followed at a distance that wasn't close enough to accuse, but wasn't far enough to ignore. When I paused at the elevator bank, he checked his phone. When I switched elevators, he switched too. I finally turned and held his gaze. He gave me a thin, quick smile. "Sorry," he said, "wrong side. My cabin's the other way." His accent was hard to place. He stepped into the next elevator and disappeared. I tried to forget him. Then I saw him again the next morning, lingering near a stairwell marked "Crew Only." He stood just outside the door, talking to a young housekeeping crew member. Her shoulders were tight, hands clasped like she wanted the conversation to end. The man handed her something, small, white, like a folded note. She shook her head and backed away. He tucked it into his pocket and walked off like nothing happened. I told myself I was being nosy. Cruises are basically floating neighborhoods. You notice strangers because you're bored. Still, I found myself watching that crew-only door more than I should. That evening, around 11:30, I was half asleep when a hard bang hit my wall. Not ship movement, a real impact. Then a woman's voice, panicked, close. "Open the door, Evan, open it." I sat up so fast the sheet slid off. More banging from the hallway. I went to my door and looked through the peephole. Marissa from 9222 was in the corridor in bare feet, hair messy, one hand pounding on her own door, the other gripping her phone. She kept swiping her key card like it had suddenly turned against her. Inside their cabin, something crashed. A muffled grunt. Then silence, like someone had hit mute. Marissa turned and saw my peephole darken. "Nate," she shouted, "please call security. Something's wrong. He won't answer." I cracked my door. "What happened?" "I don't know," she said, voice trembling. Evan went in 5 minutes ago. The kids are with my sister on deck 7. I came back and he's not opening. I heard something fall. I hit the hall phone for guest services. The line rang too long. Marissa kept pounding, pleading now. Evan, stop messing around. A latch clicked from inside, but the door didn't open. Like someone had locked it with the deadbolt and walked away. Guest services finally answered. I didn't bother with polite. We need security to deck 9, cabin 92 now. Possible medical emergency. Sir, is anyone injured? I don't know, I said, but something's wrong. Other doors cracked open. A couple in robes peeked out. Someone whispered, what's happening? 2 security officers arrived with radios and practiced calm. One spoke to Marissa while the other tried a master key. Ma'am, step back, he said. The key didn't work. He tried again. Nothing. His calm slipped. Deadbolt engaged, he muttered into his radio. Request maintenance. Maintenance showed up with a tool bag and a look that said he'd been dragged out of bed. They worked the lock while Marissa hovered, hands over her mouth. When the door finally swung inward, the smell hit first. Not blood. Something sharp. Like heavy cologne mixed with cleaning solvent. Evan lay on the carpet near the bed, twisted like he'd tried to crawl. His face was pale, eyes open but unfocused. He made a wet, shallow sound that wasn't words. Marissa surged forward and the security officer caught her shoulders. Ma'am, stay back. Medical is coming. I stepped over the threshold before I could stop myself, then froze. The balcony door was open, not cracked. Open wide, curtains billowing. Cold night air poured in. The railing beyond was empty. No person, no towel, nothing. And on the floor by the balcony track, half hidden under the curtain, was a crew ID badge on a lanyard. Blue strip, photo face down. Like someone had dropped it in a hurry and didn't dare come back for it. Guard nudged it with a pen and said, This badge was reported missing yesterday. Evan didn't die in cabin 922, but the scene was bad enough that the corridor turned into a rumor engine in minutes. Paramedics arrived with a gurney, glanced at the open balcony door, and one asked, Was anyone else in here? Marissa shook her head. No, I was in the hall. The deadbolt was on. Chief Sato showed up right behind them, hair in a tight bun, radio clipped to her shoulder. Everyone back inside, she said. Not shouted, said. And people listened. I stayed because Marissa kept looking at me like I was the only solid thing in the hallway. Evan was barely responsive, eyes open but empty, making a thin sound like he couldn't decide between a cough and a word. One medic sniffed near the bed and frowned. What's that smell? I asked. Solvent, he said, or something trying to be. They moved fast. Oxygen cuffs, quick checks. Then they rolled Evan out. Marissa followed barefoot, whispering his name like repetition could pull him back. Chief Sato turned to me. Her eyes dropped to the crew lanyard half hidden by the curtain. You didn't touch it? No, I said. Good, she said. That badge was reported missing yesterday. She took my statement while another officer photographed the lock and the balcony track. Did you see anyone out here before the noise? She asked. I told her about the man in the navy jacket, who looked almost crew but not quite. No name tag. Quick smile. Hanging near crew-only doors. Chief Sato's mouth went tight. If you see him again, you call. You don't follow. By morning, Deck 9 had that careful quiet you get after a fire drill. People smiled too hard. Parents held kids' hands longer. Security lingered near elevators like they'd forgotten how to walk away. Marissa found me at coffee, eyes swollen. He woke up, she said. They think it was a sedative. He remembers unlocking the door and then nothing. And the wallet? I asked. She nodded. Empty, cards gone. Purpose, not panic. That afternoon, Chief Sato knocked on my door and pulled me into the stairwell alcove, away from ears. She held up a tablet and played a silent clip from a corridor camera. A man in a navy jacket drifting past 922 at 11:18 p.m., pausing like he was listening, then slipping toward the crew stairwell door at the end of the hall. The timestamp matched the bang that woke me. The face was angled away, but the walk was familiar. Keypad log shows a badge swipe, she said. Not his own. We're tracing that stolen badge before he can use it again. I went to the top deck to get air. A small aft hot tub area sat mostly empty, water steaming in the wind. A pool attendant wiped down the rail with slow practice strokes. His name tag read, Mateo. Long shift? I asked. Mateo gave a flat laugh. On a ship, the shift never ends. Only the passengers do. He nodded toward the hot tub. You want the truth? People don't notice what they don't want to notice. Cameras miss angles. Staff corridors connect everything. At night, security is thin. If someone walks like they belong, nobody challenges them. Passengers hate scenes. Crew hate complaints. I thought of the navy jacket. So what do you do? Mateo shrugged. You notice anyway. That night, around 12:40 a.m., I passed the teen arcade corridor. Quiet, fluorescent, and wrong for a ship this full. A girl sat on a bench near the exit, hoodie up, a phone bright in her hands. 16, maybe. She kept checking the hall. Then the man in the navy jacket stepped out beside a crew stairwell door with a keypad. Same build, same borrowed smile. Hey, he said softly, you're late. Come on, this route's faster. The girl stood. I don't have a key. I do, he said. No crowds. 5 minutes to deck 12. My stomach dropped. I walked toward them and kept my voice calm. Everything okay? His eyes snapped to me. The smile stayed, but it hardened. She's with me, he said. Family. The girl's face said the opposite. She started. I looked at her. What's your name? She hesitated, then whispered, Tessa. Tessa, I said, where's your family right now? My aunt's asleep, she said, in the cabin. The man angled his body toward the keypad, blocking my view. Go enjoy your vacation, he said, low. I raised my voice just enough to make it public. We should call security. The word changed him. He didn't grab her, he didn't run. He walked away like I was an inconvenience, heading toward the service junction, hands in pockets, pace steady, like he trusted the ship's layout more than his legs. Tessa exhaled hard. He's been messaging me, she blurted. He said he's crew. He said he could show me the real decks. Show me, I said. She held out her phone. The chat was on a generic app, no profile photo, only the last day of messages. Short, confident. Meet me. Quiet route. No cameras, trust me. Hard proof. Not a misunderstanding. I hit the wall phone. Deck 11 aft corridor by the crew stairwell. Same guy connected to the Deck 9 incident. Teen passenger involved. He just moved toward the service area. Chief Sato answered instantly. Stay put. Describe him. 2 officers arrived at a jog and took off after him. Chief Sato reached us seconds later, eyes on Tessa's phone. Screenshot everything, she told me. Then to Tessa, you're not in trouble, but you're done wandering, understood? Tessa nodded fast. One officer came back breathing hard. Lost him, he said. Laundry junction, he vanished into staff routes. Chief Sato's jaw flexed. Seal aft crew doors on deck 11 and 12, pull corridor CCTV, flag any keycard used on those doors in the last hour. She looked at me and her voice dropped. Now he knows your face too. After the night with Tessa, the Celestine dawn stopped feeling like a vacation and started feeling like a building with too many exits. Chief Sato called me to the security office the next morning. Monitors, logs, the kind of fluorescent light that makes everyone look guilty. She slid a report toward me. The lanyard in 9212 belonged to a housekeeping supervisor, reported missing on day 2. So he stole it, I said. Or someone did, she replied. Either way, it was used. She pointed to door logs. A crew stairwell near my cabin, swipe at 11:16 p.m., an aft crew door on deck 11, swipe at 12:38 a.m. Same badge number. That's him, I said. That's the badge, she corrected. Bad people share tools. She played corridor video. The Navy jacket man paused by 922, listened, then drifted to the crew-only door. Face angled away. Same posture, I remembered. We're tightening access tonight, she said, but the ship has blind spots. She held my gaze. If you see him, you don't chase. You call. By afternoon, the ship's mood had curdled. Parents kept teens close. People stopped strolling the halls late. Every "have a great night" from crew sounded practiced. Marissa texted me from the infirmary. Evan was awake, confused, furious. The doctor told her he'd been given a fast-acting sedative mixed into a drink. The deadbolt had been thrown from inside, which meant whoever entered either had a master key or knew a trick with the latch. Security checked other cabins for test swipes. 2 more doors showed the same badge. I found Matteo near the aft hot tubs, refilling towels with the patience of someone who'd run out of patience. You said people don't notice, I told him. Where do they miss things? He nodded toward the stairwell down to the lower quiet deck. Down there after midnight, it's wind and drunk confidence. Up here, cameras. Down there, metal walls, glare, excuses. That night we were docked in Tunis, late shore returns, duty-free bottles, a ship full of people who thought the ocean made them anonymous. Around 1:20 a.m., I went for water and heard voices from the aft stairwell, a woman's laugh, nervous, then a man's soft voice. This way, no crowds. I went down using passenger stairs. The lower quiet deck was dim, lit like a closed mall corridor. The sea beside it was a black sheet. They were by the rail. The woman looked early 20s, barefoot, wearing a silver cover-up. She swayed slightly. The Navy jacket man stood close behind her, one hand on the rail beside hers. Look at that, he said. No lights, just water. She giggled. I shouldn't be down here. You're safe, he said. I'm crew. I stepped in. Hey, what's your name? She blinked. Lena, she said like she had to search for it. The man turned, smile ready. She's fine, he said, fresh air. I looked at Lena. Where's your group? In the cabin, she said, uncertain. The man's tone cooled. Go back upstairs, man. He shifted smooth, guiding Lena one step closer to the edge. Not a shove. A nudge disguised as help. That was the moment Matteo's warning turned real. I grabbed Lena's elbow and pulled her back. No, I said loud. You're coming with me. For half a second, his face emptied. No smile, just calculation. He leaned in and murmured, You really want attention? Then the mask snapped back on, hands up. Take her, he said, calm. Be her hero. He backed toward a short set of steps leading to a maintenance landing behind a bulkhead. He didn't run. He slipped behind steel and vanished. Lena sagged against me. I didn't do anything, she whispered. I know, I said. Just walk. I called security. Lower aft quiet deck, same man. He used a maintenance access behind the bulkhead. Chief Sato answered instantly. Stay with the passenger. Do not follow. Point and wait. Officers arrived, then Chief Sato, then two more in plain clothes. She took one look at the steps and keyed her radio. Lock down aft crew hatches. Seal deck 8 through 12 stairwells, now. No sirens. Just doors clicking as magnetic locks engaged, turning the ship into compartments. A crewman jogged up. Chief, Laundry 2 latches jammed. Then Laundry 2 is his exit, she said. Cover it. Flashlights cut the dark. Boots pounded metal. Somewhere inside the walls, a door slammed. Then, contact! I stayed with Lena under a heat lamp, watching the search like a bad movie I couldn't leave. An officer returned holding a navy jacket in an evidence bag, found in a service alcove. They opened it on a bench. Out slid a small black pouch, a roll of zip ties, and 3 crew lanyards with different names. Taped to one was a spare cabin key card. On the tape, in blocky pen, 922. My mouth went dry. That wasn't opportunistic, that was planning. Mateo appeared at the deck edge, eyes wide. They got him? Not yet, Chief Sato said, but we found what he carries. At 4:07 a.m., every cabin TV flashed. Please remain in your cabin until further notice. At 4:19, Chief Sato knocked on my door. 2 officers stood behind her. We have him, she said. They found him in Laundry 2, wedged behind stacked tablecloths, wearing a different crew shirt and holding a master key he shouldn't have had. Ordinary face, ordinary hands, a stare that didn't ask forgiveness. Back in Athens, passengers poured off for taxis and selfies. I stayed to sign one more statement. Chief Sato handed me the report cover page. One line was highlighted: subject accessed restricted areas using misappropriated crew credentials, targeted intoxicated and vulnerable passengers, attempted unauthorized cabin entry. 2 months later, a maritime safety bulletin ran the update. He pleaded guilty in a Greek court to assault and attempted unlawful restraint. The last sentence sat there, flat as steel. No additional victims have been identified at this time.